The Ripple Effect.
Good evening, morning and night everyone. Today we are joined by the legendary journey maker, an observer, great walker, one and only Mr. Baret, fresh from his remarkable 27-day adventure. How are you, Baret?
I have a lot of dust on my coat, and I have traveled through the ether of malfeasance in Timbuktu, the corporate malfeasance in the ether of the world. I have passed by Patagonia, and I reached Lake Ararat in Armenia.
And then you found this ancient city named Nicosia.
Yes, but I passed by the Lake
Holy,
Ararat.
did you pass from the holy mountains?
Yes, I did.
So did you salute the gods?
Ah, fuck, I forgot.
You became a pilgrim, right?
Yes, I made a pilgrimage from, as I said, the ether of malfeasance in companies from Timbuktu to Patagonia, to Ararat.
And it took 27 days
It took 27 days, yes.
to go there, and then when you reached there, you came back, right?
Yeah, I came back. And I fell down on the way. I hurt my knee.
Your knee.
Yeah, my knee, I hurt my knee.
I realized you were walking like you have a Pampers.
Yeah, I was walking like I had I'd say a shit the size of a walnut in my ass.
You try to not fall it, like, gravity was pushing you most probably.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. But the fact is,
It's just a small game with the gravity, you may say.
I don't actually have a piece of shit the size of a walnut inside my pants, man. It just looks like that.
When you reach there, you just start turning back.
As a pilgrim, I identify myself as what you would call an ascetic. An ascetic is someone who lives with almost nothing. And life is pain, and you go through not knowing where your next meal is coming from, and you live from the land, and you are a holy man during your pilgrimage. And it is what ancient Greeks would call Stoicism, but it is far more.
Also, Japanese are calling the same name.
Yeah.
What a coincidence, though.
Well, yes. I mean, the idea of someone living to the most extreme simplicity, to the point where it's very painful and uncomfortable, but also living off the land very simply, not eating a lot, and but at the same time focusing on the spiritual.
Did you find a company on the way going back?
Oh yes, but he will remain unnamed. And
did you find any sweet shops or any
sweet shops?
Yeah, man. Did you buy any T-shirt, for example, on your way?
No. As an ascetic, you do not buy.
You just walk.
You just keep walking, and even when the winds and the dust tear away at your clothes and they damage your shoes, you keep walking, and if you even end up half naked, you keep walking. It doesn't matter what the weather conditions are like.
I felt the same in this summer.
Yeah.
I mean, I came out, and it was in August, and I came out from the water. This freaky situation. You put your mobile on your bag on under the umbrella, and you pretend that you're not looking, but you're looking time to time if someone is passing from there, And that day it was too cold, and at one point I don't know how to swim. I'm telling you, man. I don't know how to swim.
So that's your version of.
Pretend that I was swimming.
That's your version of asceticism.
And that moment, I realized that someone is near to my umbrella, and I start coming out like as a golden swimmer, Olympic swimmer.
Right.
And then
Did you flex your muscles?
The wind flexed my muscles because
Right.
it was cold breeze.
That makes no sense, but yes. go
I
on.
came out and I was walking and it was too much dust and sand all around, and the guy was just checking his mobile and he just kept walking.
He wasn't even interested in your stuff.
At all.
Yeah.
And then I pretended I'm going to cafe there, the coffee
Yeah,
shop
you're not an
there,
ascetic.
to
You're
buy
not-
some drink, even though I don't need a drink, and I had to walk, and the sun was too hot. I was burning my feet, and the cold breeze was hitting my back, and I. Does it make me a
No.
holy?
No.
It's same experience I had in a short
It's a
time.
mini version of it. It's a small time frame.
I need 27 days to do that. I mean, if I do it in 27 days,
Yeah.
can I?
Usually, the journey of ascetic is alone. It's solitary.
A couple of days ago, I've seen a poster saying that our mothers knew that we are around the neighborhood driving our bicycle very close, like next to the window. But I was traveling other side of the city with friends, 8 hours, and coming back.
I
was
see. Yes.
like discovering everything that I find on the way, building, inventing, and
Well, I had my okay. I understand what you mean. I had my own version with my godbrother Robert when we were. I think this went from the ages of 6 to 10, something like that, where we would go out with our Armenian curls of hair, our Armenian afros, wearing no t-shirts and only shorts and sandals in the blistering heat. But then was sun-blasted white rock. It was like a desert. But it was,
Eğlence means having fun in Turkish.
really?
Eğlence, like fun.
No kidding.
No, I'm kidding.
I wonder if there's a connection.
Well, you did have fun.
Yeah, we did, because to answer your question, what we did was, like, in the blistering like summer heat, we would carry, as kids, like we would carry like these big rocks, which I would think twice about carrying now,
What you were doing with these stones?
And we made a base, like we constructed a headquarters in the middle of this sun-blasted rock.
You've been fighting,
No,
building a barracks
No, we were building barracks and
for defense.
For defenses, and I had
Defending against who? Against who?
well, no one, because no one went through.
What do you mean no one? Who was the enemy?
We were expecting an enemy, but no one would ever pass through there. And anyway, so
Even a plane passed?
huh?
No plane, nothing in the
Well,
bird.
planes, yeah, but they're not exactly walking by our base, are they?
It was strong man.
Yeah, it was. Man, the amount of rock, the amount of symmetry in it was actually surprising for that age.
Did you put some traps around?
Yes, it's funny you should say that,
Good.
because I used to be obsessed with survival, and my father had bought me the SAS Survival Handbook one Christmas, and I learned how to build things like different kinds of shelter, different kinds of tents from nature, and I also learned how to build traps. And so I would gather wood, metal, and barbed wire from the area, and I would actually make real traps that surrounded our base, which is hilarious because if someone did pass by, they would have been seriously hurt. It's just lucky that no one would pass by. Now, the second part of this story is that at some point we encountered another tribe of kids. And Robert and I, my godbrother and I, it was just the two of us, right? And we had different knives, and we would catch lizards and things like that with our hands. And I can still do it. I can catch a lizard with my hands. And basically, these guys were hardcore, There was more of them. There was about 7 of them. They had their own base, which they had also built, just like us. And no one told us to do this. We didn't see it on TV. We didn't read it anywhere. I think it's some kind of primitive male instinct, just to build your cave, like to have your shelter. And anyway, these guys came in, and they outnumbered us.
Oh no.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They were very impressed with our base, the fact that only 2 of us built it. And they said, we we don't want to fight. The alpha male, the leader of the tribe, they were maybe 7, 8 people, we were 2. The alpha male, he was like much bigger than the other boys. And he said, if you do us a favor, we will give you something in return. So we said, okay. So what we did was, true story, what we did was they led us far, far into an area that we'd never been in that sun-blasted landscape, where farmers would throw away their dead animals into a pit. Okay, and that pit, especially in the summertime, which it was summertime at the time, would stink of death because it was all decay, you know, like flies and worms and stuff like that. All right. Now, one of the animals that they had thrown away was a goat. Okay, and I was the smallest person in the whole group. Yeah, I was smaller than Robert. I was smaller than all the other gang. So what they did is, I tied a rope around my waist, and I used it using a knot that I knew from the survival handbook, which I knew would not.
Survival handbook?
Yeah, the SAS survival handbook.
How did you find that book?
My father gave it to me for Christmas. This is how I knew how to do the traps.
But you were at the peace agreement. I'm really curious about the peace agreement.
Yeah, we were peaceful. So far, we were peaceful. But it was all dependent on me doing what they wanted me to do. And if they said, if you do it, we're going to reward you. Now, what they didn't say is that if you don't do it, we're going to fuck you up. But that was implied, right? So what happened was I did the special knot, okay? All of them, they lowered me into the pit of death, into the pit of decay. Okay, this soup of dead animals and bones and viscera, and just brown, liquid, decaying flesh, you know. And I grabbed the what you're playing, and I grabbed, what is that? The Lord of the Mountain. What's the name of the composer? Anyway, fuck it. So they lowered me down, and, you know, slowly with the rope, okay? And I was like, gato, 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 you know, lower. And I got the skull of the goat by the horn. I grabbed it by the horn, okay? And I was like, Pano, sikosteme pano, raise me up. And they started pulling, and as they were pulling, do you know what happened? The entire skull and the connected spinal column of the goat slipped out like nothing. And they rose me up, and I climbed onto the ground, and I lifted the rotten skull of the goat with the spine attached to it, and everyone went, ah, and they clapped and whatever. So they used that goat head as to put on what was kind of like an arch in their rocks of their base as a warning. They also had motorcycle helmets as well, as warning to people to not come closer. So, because I did that, and because I was the new champion, they said, what do you want in return? And I said, we were really into knives, Robert and I said, I want the biggest and most impressive knife you have. And the alpha male of their group turned to one of his guys and says, give him the Rambo knife. Now, the Rambo knife was just like the movies. It was a big knife.
But full equipped inside.
No, real.
Yeah,
it's not a toy, it's real, okay? And inside that you had a compass on the handle, and if you unscrewed the handle, you had like little tools to like
you can catch fish.
Stitch yourself or whatever, little things like that. And the boy started protesting because it was his favorite knife. And the leader said, give him the knife now, or I will beat you into the ground.
Yeah.
And the guy came up to me, and the leader said, bow your head when you give it to him. because he gave us this skull. And the guy, the poor boy, bowed. He gave me the knife, and we were like, respectfully, we nodded. This is all 8 years old, 9 years old. This is like, what do you call it? Lord of the Flies, you know? And we went back to our base. We shook hands. We learned each other's names. And we went back to our base. And before we went, we said, if you ever want a collection of lizards, we can also bring you that as well.
Collection of lizards.
Because Robert and I would catch lizards with our hands. I can still do it.
But there was a good gift of this.
Yeah, we could catch lizards, put it in a jar, and it would eventually all day after catching lizards, we would fill the jar. Normally, we would empty the jar on Robert's sister in the house while she was doing her homework. But we said, if you want, we can give it to you as a gift. Now that we're older, we can remember, and we can say we're the last generation that can remember not being tracked by your phone, by your TV, by everything. We're the last generation that in the future, when we're older, we're going to be able to say to friends, family, whatever, I remember a time when I was not tracked everywhere I went.
That was one of the best stories.
We are the last generation that will be able to say that. The last generation.
That was one of the best stories I ever heard so far from the past.
The Ripple Effect.